Okay, so today we are going to cover certification requirements for supplier diversity. To determine and develop diverse supplier certification requirements. So there's really two types of certification for suppliers. One is to confirm whether or not it's a diverse supplier, and the other is to confirm their capability, which you do with all suppliers. So diverse supplier certification is confirming the supplier meets some criteria for a disadvantaged class. Organization must first clearly define what a diverse supplier is, and each organization needs to write that down and say, this is what we consider a diverse supplier to be. Many government entities have working definitions of a diverse supplier that can be adapted to a private industry. So you don't have to start from scratch. Government supplier diversity definition. So the United States government specifies criteria for a diverse supplier through the Small Business Administration. And you can look at it at the SBA website. It's in the Code of Federal Regulations and the Federal Acquisition Regulations. So the SBA certifies organizations under the following programs: the Business Development Program, the Small Disadvantaged Business Program, and historically underutilized business zone, hub zone program. Here's some organizations that also, well, the SBA will authorize these as diverse businesses under their Small Disadvantaged Business Program. Women-owned, historically underutilized, small service disabled, Native American-owned, LGBT rural businesses, and each one of these should go to a website that it's from the SBA. It talks about the group. Requirements from 1994 established 5% wide agency goal for small disadvantaged business and 5% for women-owned businesses. And depending on the industry, the qualifications being considered a small business is based on either the number of employees or the average annual receipts, which I think, yeah, I'm going to download that there. Small businesses is small disadvantage if it is at least 51% owned and controlled by an individual who's categorized as economically disadvantaged. A supplier is considered a small business if its size is consistent with the Federal Acquisition Regulations. Depending on the industry, in manufacturing, a small business is 500 employees or less. For transportation, agriculture, and construction, it's 500,000 to 100 million average annual revenue. And a small disadvantaged business qualifies as a disadvantaged business if it's at least 51% owned. And the owner's net worth, excluding their equity in the business, cannot exceed 750,000. 30% ownership, but 51% ownership of voting stock. SBA has a computerized directory. It's part of the SAM directory now for the federal government. Most widely used minority business directory is Diversity Information Resources, DIR. And business.com contains an international directory of more than 65,000 business categories. The Office of Government Contracting at the SBA is also working to increase participation by small business and small disadvantaged businesses. Systems for Award Management, which is the SAM, the new federal government contract registry. One-stop shop at this location here for organization SAM registrations. Of course, you'll pay for this at the USFCR. This is the company that will set you up. To do business with the U.S. government, a business must register with SAM, and once registered in SAM, business can fill out these Small Business Association supplemental pages. This will give the business access to federal contracting opportunities. So basically, you got to find someone that knows how to work this SAM system. The Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, which is Department of Health and Human Services, or at least used to be, manages the development of implementation of appropriate outreach programs. And the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has outreach activities. SEAL signifies contracting officers of the federal government that vendor's registration is complete and free of errors. Again, you'll pay for this. See if this is actually still working. Yeah, I guess so. Private supplier diversity definitions. So there's a number of organizations that have definitions that you can use for what a diverse business is to your organization. Third-party certifications, certifying standards. An organization must establish its own criteria to determine if a supplier meets its standards. But there are certifying bodies. So you can tell these bodies what your standards are, who you consider to be a diverse business, and they can advise you on it, but they can tell you if businesses meet those requirements without you having to look at everything. Once an organization has defined a diverse supplier, the next action is to decide on the steps necessary for meeting the criteria. Many organizations include their diverse suppliers in their general supplier certification programs. Just because all suppliers got to be certified, right? Approved suppliers. And then your second thing is to certify as a diverse supplier. Certification can be given at the organizational level or parts level or both. Depends on your setup. When it comes to diverse supplier certification standards have traditionally been set by government or third-party agencies. In the case of self-certification or even in-house certifications, the presumption is that companies follow common terms or standards, and buying organizations should implement their own review and verification programs. To verify an organization's diversity for certification, suppliers will need to provide proof of diversity claims through documents such as certificates of incorporation, ownership agreements, proof of U.S. citizenship, business cards, banking records, sales reports. So this is not the thing that you want to get in to do, and there's other companies that will do this for you that we were looking at. Certification programs through national and federal agencies have detailed instructions. Third parties typically have similar processes. You want to use these third-party certifying organizations. For a buying organization conducting their own internal certification process, a full-scale rigorous program may not always be achievable. So start by asking suppliers basic information, followed up by asking for verifying information. Do you have third-party certifications? So you're leaving the certification up to somebody else, which is what you want to do. Evaluate not only your primary suppliers, but should also look for diversity in your second and third tier suppliers. What you should do is have your first tier suppliers make them have their own program, so you don't have to track that as much. Self-certification versus third-party certification. So once certified, recertification may be required on a regular basis for third-party, and mentorship training and resource benefits come with membership with the certifying organization. Self-certification refers to a situation where a supplier chooses to forego third-party certification but classifies themselves as a diverse supplier. Some buying organizations may be leery of self-certifications, and for good reason. And competitors may challenge the validity of the supplier self-certification. In-house certifications. Establishing in-house certification is an ideal option for buying organizations who prefer to utilize criteria which aligns with their values, and existing supply base is diverse in ways other than standards common. Establishing a unique in-house program provides you with the structure and a level of rigidity to match the corporate values, confidence in the quality of data. An organization may also be considered a hybrid program. Some definitions and certifications are adapted from the government, others are your own. Remaining diversity qualifications are established by the organization. Finally, the organization must decide how, when, and or whether to collect either proof of third-party certification or information to review and verify the supplier's self-certification. So you're going to have to be a pretty large firm to set up in-house certifications. Most people are just going to rely on third-party certifications. To do business with the U.S. government and have them certified that business is a small disadvantaged business, a business owner must register with whom? Well, these acronym soup here. It's not FAR, that's a regulation. That looks like nonsense. It's got to be the System for Award Management. It's where they keep everything nowadays. It is. Okay. What is the best method to validate that a supplier is a diverse supplier? Take the supplier's word for it? No. Ask the supplier to show ownership status and determine its status. A lot of work. Require a copy of the certification document by a recognized third-party certificating organization. I like that. Require submission of W-9 tax ID. No, go with C. And C it is. All right. Summary. Self-certification. Certifications are often based on an honor system where the business classifies itself as diverse. Suppliers seeking to be certified as diverse from a third party will need to understand and meet that party's definition for certification. Establishing an in-house certification is a good option for organizations who want certification to align with their own values. And certification standards, certification is accomplished by setting guidelines for uniform standards such as ISO 9000. The SBA uses the table of size standards matched with the firm's NAICS code to determine if it is a small business. Women-owned businesses, a business owned and operated by at least 51%. Minority-owned, another 51%. Veteran-owned, 51%. Individuals who served in full-time active duty. LGBT businesses, 51%. And buying power, the amount of goods and services that an organization can purchase. Okay. Let's go get the questions out there. There's 10. All right, get some answers here. Okay, number 1 is Charlie. Number 2 is Charlie. And number 3 is Charlie. Number 4 is also Charlie. Number 5 is Alpha. And we're back to Charlie at 6 and Charlie at 7. Number 8 is also Charlie. Number 9 is Alpha. And number 10, nothing, is Bravo. All right, we will move on to section F tomorrow.